Professional what?
There it is. Yeah, in the immortal words of Ferris Bueller, professional what?
I think it's Cameron.
Is it sausage? Was it Abe Froman?
Abe Froman, Sausage King of Chicago.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemachamp or Lucky Track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes in the world of low-dollar endurance racing. Whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And I have to read this one here. So, we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to the centennial episode. Dun, dun, dun!
Where's the trombone?
Of our podcast. It's still in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
This is episode 100. If you're not driving a car, don't forget your E1R bingo card. Link is in the show notes. If you have bingo, we want you to shout out bingo. And then, I don't know, take a picture of it, send it to our social media. So, it's the 100th episode, and the 100th time I'm going to ask you all, what you working on? Mental, why don't you start?
I would like to tell our readers that this story actually has a point.
Doubtful.
Our readers?
Sorry,
what
listeners,
are they reading?
Listeners. Yeah, really.
I hope they're not reading, because especially they might be driving.
That's a good point, too. Sunday night, we went to go see The Art of Racing in the Rain. And the film broke twice. So the lovely
awesomeness?
No,
just ran out of tape or
something. That's a different reason to cry at that movie.
Oh.
Exactly. It was funny because it was 5 people in there, and they were all like gearheads or had read the book, and we put up with it the first time because we wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
And the second time, the guy came in and said, "Sorry, it's a technical problem. We don't know what's the matter. We have had to call our technicians. Here's free tickets for everybody to come see any movie anytime, and also feel free to go pick another movie tonight." So we ended up going to see Hobbs and Shaw because it was free.
What a downgrade.
It's exactly what you think it is, and it's for what it is. It's a good movie.
I don't know what it is.
It's the Fast and Furious without the Fast and Furious.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Jason
we live
Statham
under rocks.
The Rock.
So
it's the Jason Statham and the Rock being Jason Statham and the Rock. On the way home, the Volvo began a very sinister clatter against the valve cover.
This
Did it sound like
the
this?
Worst.
Except way louder. I initially thought I thought I had blown a exhaust gasket. The header gasket,
yep.
But then I popped the hood, and it is like someone with a adjustable wrench beating on the valve cover, and I haven't pulled the valve cover off yet. So
now you have 2 broken European cars.
This is like the worst day ever.
Okay.
So the next day I come home, and Vicky's been in the RV all day, and she goes, "That's it, we're buying a car." So we went out car shopping. And after we narrowed it down to, at your recommendation, the CX-3 and a Tiguan, and we went and drove them both. Came home.
Was the Tiguan a suggested car?
No,
not by us, that's for sure.
I was like,
no,
okay.
Just
maybe try to miss this conversation here.
And there was a really nice certified pre-owned CX-3 Grand Touring with the heads-up display and the suede inserts on the leather interior and the multicolored inserts on the door. It's a great car. If anybody lives in Las Vegas and wants a good deal, I'll hook you up with our guy. But Vicky drove that. And then we drove a 2016 Tiguan R-Line, and we came home with the Tiguan. And
extended warranty?
Yes.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
I said, does it have an extended warranty? Because that's the way to own a modern Volkswagen. Yeah.
Yes. And we brought it home because today Vicky had to be at a home inspection because we have put in an offer that was accepted on our new home.
It's been a very expensive 2 days in the Ward household.
It's been a very expensive 2 days.
And it's not over yet.
What you got, Jeff?
Do all the windows go up and down in the house?
No. It's Las Vegas. The windows don't even open.
Do all
Shut
the
up.
windows go
Shut
up
up.
and down in the Tiguan?
Yes, they do.
For now.
At the moment.
For now, at the moment,
Does
yes.
the radio work?
Exceptionally well. It has Apple CarPlay.
Is the check engine light on yet?
No, but it did say inspection due.
It's all right.
Oh, you can turn that one off.
Actually, I wish you luck because I think the Tiguan is pretty cool. I just worry about Volkswagen and their electrics.
Fair.
The motor
fair.
will run forever.
Yeah.
The rest will not.
Even the recent ones. My friend used
The
to have a
electrical
Tiguan,
coils.
but also like her radio stopped working like 3 weeks after she got it, and they could never
Volkswagen.
figure out what was wrong. She had to use a Bluetooth stereo in her fairly new car.
So what we
You're
do in the RV.
I mean, sure. I mean, it's the RV though.
They're lovely right up until they're not. So
Yeah,
hopefully
exactly.
you keep this one lovely long enough to get
And,
something
and
else
it's
eventually,
yeah,
'cause
it's
we know
Vicky
you will.
driving. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Vicky driving, so it'll probably last forever.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you get a good one, they're great.
Right.
So
It's a pretty one. I will say this: it's dark blue. It's the R line, so it's got the fancy wheels, leather interior, no sunroof, oddly enough, but power everything else.
It's not like you're going to open it in Vegas.
no.
Compelling.
Yeah.
So what about the house? Good? Everything nice? How big's the
Yes.
garage?
2-car, and then some, and it's coming with $1,000 of that built-in metal shelving.
I like that there's no grass. It's just gravel. So the whole thing's
Yes.
basically a parking area. Right?
I'm going to try really, really hard to fight my redneck tendencies, but
where
no
are you going with
promises.
the
Come on.
RV? I think you should park the RV,
RV
right
goes
there.
right out
Yeah.
front.
Right there. Like it's a great spot for it. It's like
The
and there's a
RV
hedge there too. I love
That's
it.
true. The RV and the trailer will be living on base.
Still, I can see room for there's room for race car and other broken
I can
Volvo
see-
and broken BMW,
Oh,
And-
totes, yeah.
trailer, and I mean broken motorcycle, and whatever various other thing you drag home out of the
detritus.
desert, right? So, yeah,
Rust-free
Totally.
things that I drag home because it was
Yeah.
such a good deal.
yeah. When you find an '89 Civic hatch, there's a perfect body, and everything else is trash. Perfect, we'll take it.
Oh yeah, no, that'll yeah.
Well, and then
Okay.
Once
We're not
once I
playing
get
that
settled, once it gets settled, that's totally going to happen. We'll
Yeah.
just figure out how we'll get it there some other way.
Yep.
Well, I wish
But
you
on-
best in both purchases.
Thank you.
And I
Sure.
think everyone in podcast land does. We just know that you'll probably mess it up.
I looked at the pictures though.
It's fair. It's fair. It's
Jeff, here's
I
how
would
you
love to
know.
be offended by his crack.
Here's how you know the house is going to be good. It was owned by two gentlemen before, so it's going to be very well done, without a doubt.
Yes. Oh, the colors are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
We're not changing. We're literally not changing anything on the interior.
It's got
Same
a
reason
lovely
I bought
pool.
my truck.
it's
Right.
on Tumbleweed Road.
Yeah, lovely pool, lovely hot tub, nice. It really looks great.
Oh.
So
Well, we'll all see it when we come crash. So
Darn Skippy.
absolutely.
awesome. You got anything else, or are we passing on to Chris?
Please, Chris. Speaking of civics,
Yeah, I've had a pretty productive last several days. Friday, I did some junkyarding time and got visited a couple yards and had really some good success. Ended up finding a trailing arm for the Civic off of an Integra.
Whoop.
It was of the 2 yards I went to. The
because
only
apparently you can never have enough.
well, when they keep getting broken, yeah. But I didn't get rid of the one that was bent. I'm going to see if I can straighten it with the press, straighten it enough to make it a usable replacement. Anyway. Got that. 4 injectors because really they had one TSX the right year at the yard. And of course, someone had already pulled the motor. But sitting on the ground right next to the car was the fuel rail with 4 injectors in it.
Nice.
So thank you very much. I will take that. $28 later, I got 4 new injectors as opposed to the $128 that one of them cost me at AutoZone in Framingham, Massachusetts. So those are getting shipped out to get cleaned and be ready for spares. Found an alternator for the Solstice, which is shared with the Pontiac G6 and Saturn Aura. And let me tell you, if you want a car you can easily pull any kind of great quality part off of at a junkyard, it's a Saturn Aura because no one cares
No one wants that.
at all. So I found
I thought you were going to go to an entire diatribe about ease of accessibility. Nope. It's because they are totally complete
no
and
one
unmolested.
cares. This car was a collision total from an insurance company, so it ran well enough to get hit or hit something. It looked like a very nicely well cared for car with moderate mileage on it, and there was not a single part pulled off this thing. So
was that the only one in the yard?
It was totally.
There were several, and
somebody purchased poorly
cares.
then.
Right, no one cares. So it's very nice. But I said, pulled the back seat out, lay on the ground, did the alternator, I had to take like the engine covers off the top to get to it. That's how much no one cares. Right. So anyway, $26 later, got an alternator for the Solstice. That's set. I got a new antenna mount for Snowflake because.
Because when I was there to get the janky trailer, I locked the keys in it with it running, and they said, "Hey, use the antenna to unlock the door," which worked great. But as soon as I went to twist it off, it broke. And
But let me tell you the fun part about this. To replace this piece, I'm gonna have to take the dash off.
Why would you have to take the dash off?
Because this is the antenna base, and it's a shielded wire. And it mounts to the inner fender, and then it goes down inside behind the HVAC system, under the dash, to go behind the dash, only halfway to the radio. At which point, it has a connector that goes the rest of the way to the radio.
So it goes behind the HVAC system that you completely already pulled off to replace the door.
I didn't because replacing the door was really easy. That was on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
That was nice,
Fair
convenient work. But I'm going to have to pull the dash to replace the antenna mast mount. Thanks. Anyway, got that. Got a clutch master cap for the Civic so I can rig an airline fitting into it so I can make my own pressure bleeder for that, because Hondas are no good for using a motive on. The master cylinder style isn't very good for it, so make that. And then I went to Tire Rack and I picked up all of the wheels and tires basically. So I figured if I'm going to be going, I'm going to order tires for everything we own that needs them anytime soon. Because the Mazda needs them desperately. The Pirellis on there are banana skins.
I drove home on Hoosiers today, which was great when there was a very large rainstorm. So that was awesome. I drove in a lot of traffic, and then all of a sudden it picked up, and I was like, oh, hi. Yes.
Chrissy's
what you
moving
can't
her
see
hand
is
sideways. Moving her hand sideways. So we have a nice set of
swimming like a fish in the air in front of her.
We have some Continental Extreme Contact Sports going on the Mazda, which will last through this year.
Good choice.
Amazing.
Those are great tires.
And also, once this becomes a track toy in only about 15,000 miles, they will be adequate on track too. So we're thinking ahead for everybody.
Excellent.
They'll
look good parked on my gravel in front of my garage.
Absolutely. We got a new set of tires for the Civic because obviously we put a piece of safety wire through one brand new one, which is great at Thompson, and wore one out that we've been using for years. And then also we wore the back tires out because we were driving it hard enough. So I needed a new set, and because all of our other spare wheels of the set of 8 Cosi K1 TSs we had from the Wago van, only 2 remain. All of the other ones have been cracked or damaged otherwise, so we don't have any left. So
we had more than 8 because we had replaced a couple of them in the beginning,
from
didn't
collision. Well, I think we had replaced one from collision. Anyway, we had 2 sets at one point. Now we're down to 2. So we have no spare wheels for the Civic in the back.
I want to say they had a lot of race miles on them.
Oh yeah.
We're not complaining.
Hard-earned race
they
miles.
They probably had 30,000 race miles on them. That's pretty hard. Anyway.
Hashtag they should totally sponsor us.
Yeah.
Thought it was a great excuse. We need 2 more, so I'm not just going to get something else the same size. I'm going to go bigger because we can. So we went to 15 by 8 inch wheels for the back. We had 15 by 7s. 15 by 8s will very nicely support a 205 tire. They're actually half an inch wider than the max recommended rim width by the manufacturer, which means they will be perfect for supporting these tires nicely. They also follow my new mandate of just do whatever the hell Andy Hollis did on the one-lap CRX. So,
what did we have before? I thought we had 205s before.
We did. We have 15 by 7 inch wheels, so now we have 15 by 8.
So we're still 205 tire width.
Yes.
But we are putting them on an inch wider wheel.
Which will kind of stretch them slightly so they're better supported. Same way we have the 225s on the 15 by 9s in the front.
Yeah.
Very well supported. The 8s support the 205s really well. So
got it.
A little better grip. Anyway,
By the way, these are race car suggestions. You don't need to go this hella flush on your street car.
Please don't. Please don't.
Stiffened the rear sway bar. I replaced the trailing arm that got broken. I bent the gas pedal a little bit more for better heel and towing. I pulled the front splitter off. I've repaired the splitter from Jeff's fun time with it. Yes, Jeff?
This is not why I raised my hand. I found the video. Betty was right behind me when I put that wheel off.
Okay.
I can show it to you.
Okay. I had Betty following me for 10 minutes, and I didn't put wheels off.
Yes. And then I wanted to say, I don't think we ever mentioned the dead pedal fiasco.
No, we didn't. Because he just told me to shut up and keep driving.
Yeah.
And then you ripped it off.
I don't know if I ripped it off.
Well,
it definitely
Chrissy
got removed under my feet.
Here's my perspective on it. Is Chrissy said the dead pedal's loose. I said, all right, deal with it. Like, what can you do about it? Nothing. I then get in the car after Jeff, and at first turn I go into it, I hear clunk, 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 and it is just rolling around the passenger side
Jeff says
floorboard.
to me afterwards, he was like, "Oh crap! Did you pull the dead pedal out of this?" No, I was like, "No, I didn't do that." No, yes, he was like,
Remind our listeners how long it took you to find that dead pedal, Chris.
A long time.
What do you mean?
I believe it was. If I'm not mistaken, it was a cold and rainy day. The day you had to dig that thing up.
Yeah. We should say that this is a plastic dead pedal that bolts onto two studs on a flat part of the floor.
I mean, it's a pretty nice dead pedal.
It's a great dead pedal.
It's the OEM one from an Integra, and what happened is both studs broke off.
Sheared.
So I have to re-weld studs into it to put the dead pedal back on. But everyone says, I want dead pedal, so we have to put that back on. So
worth it.
What else have I done?
Nothing.
Also tire rack. I got 2 new tires for the Mercedes too because the front seemed to be replaced. And at the Cape House, I installed an outside outlet and replaced the window screen.
You are a very busy man.
Yeah.
If women can't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Yep, pretty much.
Kristen, you want to go next, or you want me to go?
I spent some time with the Abbott family this weekend, which was lovely. Had some nice weather. We saw some friends, so Allison and Chris Gibson, which you guys know, and they're 2 lovely kids. We spent the weekend with them, which was awesome. And now I'm absolutely complaining about work, though mine is not as hostile as yours. This is the first word that came to mind. Just very busy, and I'm headed to Pittsburgh tomorrow morning until Friday. Or outside of Pittsburgh, and we're working on some training out there, and then more chaos this weekend. So yeah, that's it.
That wasn't so bad. Nope. So I have only 2 things on my list, but they were extremely long and extremely hot and sweaty, or at least one of them was. So due to my wacky schedule and taking some days off and trying to actually spend it with the wife, I decided that I was going to return the car to Hamsa Friday during daylight hours. Usually I don't try and leave New Jersey until like 7 or 8 o'clock. He lives outside of D.C. I get there at like 11 o'clock, drop off the car, drive home to the wee hours. But I said...
Hamza also wanted it back sooner rather than later because it's all kinds of broken.
Yeah. So normally I would have brought it back on a weekday.
I fear that Hamza may be getting bitten by the racing bug. He might actually start racing soon.
Yeah, probably.
I'll talk to you guys later about it. He is.
So I had that same conversation with him. So at like 9 a.m. I got into the truck and I hooked up the trailer and I headed towards DC. And I returned it home at 10 p.m. No. Sorry, it was 10 hours. So I did not get home until like 6 p.m. It was the most hellish trip to DC through the DC traffic that you could possibly imagine. Here is the list of things that I would rather do than drive a trailer through DC traffic. I would rather stand on my head in a snowstorm while shaving my ass with a cheese grater, chewing on tinfoil, while a boombox right next to me plays that damn horse song over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
I was just gonna say
this is
fall down some
hostility.
stairs or something, but no, that's much worse.
We wow. I've never heard you this angry.
Yeah. So from now on, I will leave here at midnight and meet Hamza at like 6 a.m. or something. I don't know. But anyway, that
Or
was
we just
a horrible.
fix one of our own damn race cars.
True, we could do that. Stop borrowing race cars from our friends. That would be helpful.
Well,
So
in your defense, if he didn't build such a good race car, it would be easier.
true.
If it was like a crappy car, we'd be all motivated. But it's like, oh, this works really well.
Yeah.
So I posted pictures on the social media. I built the greatest gates ever on my fence, and I completed the job, even though Mental said, "Oh, you're not going to finish any jobs last week."
That was
I
motivation.
built
Very proud to say that I was wrong.
2 5.5-foot free swinging center gates that are absolutely amazing. My dogs cannot escape. They look fantastic. Everything my wife said about the design that it was going to fail did not fail. Yeah, so they're amazing.
Is the trailer in the backyard now then?
No, the trailer's not in the backyard because I still have to trim a tree, get the International Harvester moved, working, and
Just needs a
cut the
coil.
old fence. And cut the old fence. So
Okay. All right.
No,
Yeah.
I'm glad I was wrong, Jeff. Good on you.
cool. News and notes time for the 100th time. Let's talk about long roofs. So.
Big surprise coming from Jeff.
Exactly. It's really, really just on brand. So the 2020 Audi RS6 Avant is coming to America. Let's look at this. Is it a long roof? Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
Does
so
it have
sexy.
591 horsepower?
Yes,
Yes,
it does.
it
Supposedly.
does.
Is it coming to America basically unmolested? Yes.
Yes.
Is it a great
Why-
car to lease only? Yes.
Extended warranty?
Yes.
Is it
No.
built by Volkswagen Auto Group?
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
Uh,
it is. It's so pretty.
It is pretty. It is gorgeous.
It basically
So
has
hot.
box flares on a wagon, which is
Yeah.
Oh,
that's fun.
It's so
It's
awesome.
amazing.
I'd still rather have an
Which-
E63 wagon though.
Sure.
But it
You're
is-
not. Nobody asked you.
Box flares on a wagon is a perversion that I did not know that I was into until I saw. I'm like, oh, yes.
Add
oh,
that to
God.
your Pornhub searches. No. It's amazing. Everyone is tweeting about it. It's been on every social media. We have a Jalopnik article. We'll link that in the show notes.
Cool.
Who's next?
Papadakis Racing on YouTube got their hands on a new super engine and tore it right down because that's what I would do with a expensive new car. Anyway, despite all the plastic bits that they call the bane of longtime BMW owners' existence, they think they can get 1,000 horsepower out of the engine, which, I mean, it's the same BMW straight six that people are making buku power forever when you turn them up till they're about to explode. So, yeah, they already
You
make...
drive it very long that way.
No, they already make more power than they're advertised based on like GRM put it on a dyno and it put more to the wheels than it was supposed to make at the crank. So that's going well.
That's
Now-
how you know it's a BMW engine and not a Toyota engine because they underestimated it.
I was going to say, do we know if it is putting out different power than the BMW version?
I don't know for sure one way or the
Okay.
other, but the straight six BMWs always seem to perform very well no matter what
Yeah.
they're in. So until they break a high pressure fuel pump
Right?
or a water pump or a turbo. Or
And how long do you run it when it
or
has done that?
when the belt throws off the front of the engine, it actually goes inside and eats the crank seal. We have to take the whole front of the motor apart to fix. It's sad. They're
Sounds
great.
right.
Like I would like one of these. And then I read those, and then I go look at the NSX and go, yeah, this just starts every time, and nothing goes wrong.
And just as
Oh.
good. No 1,000 horsepower needed.
Uh-uh.
All right, the original Bullet Mustang is headed to auction. Chris Perkins and at Road and Track points out that it could be the most expensive Mustang ever sold. It will headline the Mercum Auto Auction in Kissimmee, Florida in January. It is Mecum. Sorry. It's pretty
if
awesome.
Mental had lottery money, he'd be there.
You better believe
Yeah.
it. I would.
Wow.
I would spend every dollar of my lottery money and sleep in that car.
It's,
I know that Road and Track article that we linked is talking about the auction, but did they talk about how this car was found?
We've talked
That's
about it
an
in the
amazing
past.
story.
It
Yeah.
is. It was just in some
it-
dude's
it-
barn. They just didn't want to tell anybody. Like, yeah, we know we've got it. We're just not going to say anything.
Well, and then the infamous Steve McQueen letter came out where Steve McQueen knew that this guy owned it and said, "Hey, I'd really like to have it unless it costs too much monies." And he spelled it monies, M-O-N-E-I-E-S.
I mean, that's how I spell it, but I went to
Yeah,
you
exactly.
guys.
And he says, in which case we better forget the whole deal. And they have all of that. And the guy originally said, I'm not going to sell it. We're going to keep it in the family. And then I think someone showed him what he could get for it. And his quote was, "That's the kind of money that can change this family for generations." So good on him.
It's worth selling the old Mustang to do that. Yeah.
Now, and speaking
Go
of
ahead.
famous cars in auctions, arguably the most famous car in the world, James Bond's smokescreen making, oil slick spewing, seat ejecting Aston Martin DB5 sold this past weekend at auction. So yes. So Sotheby's sold the exact car to its current owner in 2006 for just over $2 million. And this weekend it raked in a record-setting $6.3 million. So, honey, I love
a good
you, but I'm
investment.
telling you, cars are great investments. I'm not going wrong when I drag all this rusty junk home.
I'm calculating in my head. 06 minus 19, 6.3. Yeah, I think he did pretty well.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
And it
we've
was
got a
so
link to
He
that
beat, he beat
Brian
my S&P
Silvestro
500
article.
index fund. That's for sure.
That is, you can't drive that car. I'm going to park it in a garage.
Rub it with a diaper.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you can't
Uh-huh.
you can't drive that kind of car.
He just talks to it and rubs it with a diaper.
Although if you bought it if you have $6 million to buy it, then maybe you can afford to
It's
fix
like a
it.
Civic for that guy.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So last week, 24 cars departed Monterey for a 5-day voyage that ended in Monterey in the Lemons Rally Monterey Car Week. WEAK. The fabulous Hudson Hornet edged out the comrades of Moscow and, of course, a Yugo. Third was our show favorite, the Pile Drivers, in what was left of their D100 van with the wooden door, cut down roof. I think Sasha was on that team. I'm not sure. I'm joking. He wasn't on that team, but they cut it up like he was. Other notables include a Fiat 500, some sort of Jag, a Caddy Eldorado, and all the hijinks can be found on Instagram at Lemons Rally. I told you last week to follow the hashtags. If you didn't, just go check it now. Spend an hour or two staring at the wonderful pictures. It looked amazing.
It did. Now, on to actual competition. The World Racing League was down south at the World Racing League 14 Hours of Sebrings. 21 cars, 10 BMWs, 6 Miatas, no Hondas, 2 P cars, and an Audi RS3.
It's all boring. All boring. Good is the second most original team name ever. Chrissy Carden had their Miatas finish 6th and 8th out of 21. That doesn't seem so hot. But that certainly got them first and second in GP3 and put them a little ahead of Noesis's Cayman in 10th, which is mid-pack in your Cayman. You suck.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they had problems. They've won so many times.
The Adventurous, the Ginetta G55, which we discussed last week, it's like some kind of serious race car, took second overall and set the fastest lap with a 2:25.15. For reference, IMSA driver Matt Campbell in March at the IMSA race took the winning GTD Porsche GT3R. Whew, it's a lot of letters. They did a 2:07. So that's pretty fast for a little tiny amateur motorsports. Anybody can purchase it with a checkbook car.
So there weren't many funny ones on this race, but we had the Chattanooga Tourenwagen Meisterschaft. It didn't start. And the Miata came in 12th. Overall winner at Hammer Motorsports, and third went to Team ACP.
Now, in upcoming events, Lucky Dog. We love them. Hot on the heels of their successful Dog Stock Jamboree is Laguna Seca this weekend. You can only hope to spectate because it was limited spots and sold out almost immediately. But if you want to get
back. That was a good time.
Totally.
It'd be better if we weren't changing the motor in a BMW the entire race, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it will happen. So if you want to get on any of those awesome races, including the Rob Edworthy Memorial Race at Oregon Raceway Park, the Wild Dogs Grand Prix and the Streets of Ensenada, the dates still to be announced, the Baja, Mexico, the Howl Oween at Portland International, the Dog Days of Thunder Top Dog Nationals at Thunder Hill, you got to act quick. But don't forget the third annual Oktoberfest Endurance Racing Gathering is in the Bay Area in October. How do you get in on this action? You go check out racelucky.com. But this event, 60 cars because they limited it, 19 of them are BMWs.
Boring.
11 Miatas, only 2 Hondas, 6 P cars, and a 66 Plymouth Belvedere.
Did they get lost? Like, oh, I know why. It's
Kathy was actually really
It's
excited about
Faster
it.
Farms.
It's
They
Faster
did
Farms.
theirs.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. So they're great. Absolutely, they know what they're doing. They'll beat so many people with that thing.
They
It'll
will.
be fantastic.
Yeah, they
And
will.
it's on tags, and they'll probably drive it to the track.
That's excellent. So some of the good cars like Occupy Pick Lane and 91 Miata, that's that green one that was ridiculous. Anyway, there's lots of fast cars there. Many of them are BMWs. Those are boring though. Let's talk about the better ones, Jeff.
Well, we already mentioned the Belvedere of Faster Farms, but the B team, Just Plain Stupid, will be there in a 74 Lotus Elite.
I think that's the
Is that the Chotus?
Otis.
This.
Is that the Chotus? I wasn't sure.
Chotus.
Planned Obsolescence will be there in a 79 Buick Skyhawk. That is a was that a J body, I think?
Oh yeah,
whatever the
Chrissy's
Monza
got some feedback
Yeah.
on that when we get down to listener feedback.
All right, well, Team Pujo, spelled Pujo.
With
will
an
be
exclamation point.
With an exclamation point. Will be there in
Pujo.
their 88 Peugeot, spelled Pugeot 505. Good luck for them. Oh, did I miss any? Sorry. Spelled like the French car. Ran when parked in their 76 Olds Omega, which I'm pretty sure is also a J-body GM, just like the 79 Buick Skyhawk.
Your list is amazing. My list is very boring. Funny, dirty little freaks, which I believe, have raced against them.
Yeah, they used to race diesel Mercedes and Lemons, which is much cooler than what they're racing now.
Quite. In an 87 E30. Do it or no balls racing. No spaces in that. In a 95 525i. Joe Mama in a 90 Miata, and RacingRuinMyLife.com in an 88 325, which is hilarious when you look at the list of the cars, and that one automatically becomes a hyperlink because it is RacingRuinMyLife.com. So I thought it was funny when it definitely sticks out when you copy it and paste it.
Now, the same weekend, Bill Strong and the crew from Champ Car are headed to Gingerman for an 8+7 2-day Enduro. Now, they've got 54 cars, 15 BMWs.
Boring.
Still boring. 10 Miatas, 4 Hondas, no P cars, and a 72 Datsun 510.
Wow. So some of the good cars, Crank Yankers have their E30. They do a bunch of series in the Midwest and should do well. Same with Hakuna Miata, which at least that's clever. Good job.
That is, I like that. I just checked on RacingRuinMyLife.com is actually their team website. It is active and has a lovely picture of their turquoise blue 88 BMW 325.
So they actually paid their domain name stuff, so
They
their
did.
website didn't get taken over by
Like Jeff-
someone, a Chinese company selling hats,
Selling hats is still on ours.
which
The
is
adventurous.
three pedal
And
And
options.
Jeff is
Thank
running
you.
it on his car, though.
Yeah.
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 So if someone wants a Chinese hat, they know where to get one.
I think I scraped off the .com part. The adventurous Insta Buddies, Daring
Okay.
Greatly Racing, will be shaking down their 05 Cadillac CTS. It's well built, and we put them here because it's a new build. So hopefully that'll work out for them.
Okay. And now I have the
And
funny
GM.
list. I feel better about my funny list this time. Number 69, Nice Racing in their Honda Preload, 93 Honda Prelude. 4 dudes, 1 cabin. That's cool. And their 83 BMW 635 CSI, which is a little bit more
Those are
rare
super
for
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
cool.
And the Butt Lords in their 93 Honda Civic.
So I'd like to
Chrissy
correct
to have to say
Chrissy.
butt lords.
Oh, no. I was going to correct her and say you got to say it like this. Number 69. Nice racing.
Oh, I didn't realize I needed to have extra spaces in there. I apologize.
All right. So finally, in the upcoming races, it's a busy weekend. The Lemons folks are invading Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka, Kansas. The race at Thompson, Jeff accurately called an East Coast All-Star race. I would call this event the All-Stars of some really bad ideas. So poorly done, all of you. Well done. 37 cars, 9 boring BMWs, 1 Miata, 3 Hondas, no P cars, and a smorgasbord of oddballs.
Yeah, it's crazy. So host number 5, Eric Rude, tells us that Spank is doing a very Spank kind of thing. He is driving the number 57 Real Racing registered trademark at Black Iron quote Racing 73 Toyota Chinook camper from California to Kansas, and he is camping in it the way there and at the track.
That's okay. He's not racing the Chinook.
Oh yeah. Oh, he is.
Absolutely.
Oh no, he's racing it.
It is a caged Toyota Chinook camper.
Can you take the? I'm sorry, I'm not
95 horsepower. No, it's like a little mini Toyota truck front with a little mini camper. Oh, actually, Chrissy, you would know from Babe
Is it
Rally.
like the one you?
Miles,
okay, go ahead.
The one Miles Fox
Miles
had in
Fox
Babe
lived
Rally.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this tiny little terrible camper, and they are the slowest thing in the entire world.
How well is the camper part put on the truck to be able to race
fairly
it?
poorly.
Oh, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. But it's caged, and Spank is driving it from San Diego to Kansas.
I'm so happy he's back.
Yes.
He's
This
back.
Yeah, he's off his meds or something. I don't know, but we love him, and this is wonderful. Thank you, Spank, and we're looking forward to hearing it. The last time he did something wacky like this is when he drove the Citroen DS from San Diego to Florida, and then raced it, and then gave it to Roland and Stephanie, and then no one ever heard of it again. So, anyway, other stuff. Property devaluation is going to be there with their 302 powered E36. That's actually a solid top 10 car when it doesn't blow the hell up. Brett Sloman coming fresh off the win a couple races ago in the Toilet EcoCheck powered Toyota Celica. And Bad Decisions, we love their 47 Plymouth Special Deluxe because it bothers so many people. That's great. Well done, guys. Keep
and
going.
they still apologize for cheating. Finger quotes, cheating.
Now they are over that.
I got a quick question. Where does Brett Sloman live?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. So he gets all over the place for some of these because we saw him in Connecticut.
Pit race.
We've seen. Oh, pit race. I'm sorry. Yeah. We saw him in Atlanta or Barber. I can't remember which one.
Both.
Yep.
Both. Wow. That guy's got some travel.
Well, St. Louis, it's the gateway to the West.
It's kind of the
gateway
middle,
to
right?
America, right? You can go all kinds of places there.
So the adventurous, so many awesomeness, 8 rookie teams, Team Skid Steer in a 79 Mercury Bobcat will battle Tommy Salami and the Meat Wagon in their 74 Pinto for Pinto supremacy. I believe 74 will have round headlights and is still a blow-up model, while the 79 will have square headlights, which is the indication that they have repaired the blow-up rear end.
But I believe Tommy Salami's Meat Wagon is the wagon.
Oh, even better. Deferred Maintenance is bringing their 1975 Chevy Love, which might be the only thing slower than the Chinook, MST 3000, and of course their Mitsubishi 3000. Jetlag Racing will be bringing a Triumph TR of some sort, TR7, TR8, we're not sure. Warthog, HAWG Racing, hails from Whiteman Air Force Base, and they will have an 84 motherfrickin' Vet.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. America. 11, that's a lot of plastic. Oof, C4, good luck. 11% in a Fiat X19 is also coming out.
That's Team 11%.
Yes, Team 11%. I'm sorry.
Do the math, kids.
X1 divided into 9.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't pick that up until just now.
So much dorks. Okay, so I happened to open my phone, and here is the picture. So Lemons posted, I'm showing everybody, sorry, this is not fun for you guys. That is the Chinook.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what it is. They are awful.
So Spank. Such a Spank thing.
It's awesome. Okay, so I have the funny ones. Team Right Away in the Civic Duty in the newest car on the grid, an 05 Civic. What?
It's a terrible car.
Yeah.
Seriously, the 01 to 05 Civic is just a bad car. So, no worries.
Wow. Whoa, folks, it took 100 episodes, but Chris is bad mounting a Honda.
What?
Hey, even Honda had their mistakes. The 05 Civic, the 12 Civic, that was tragic.
Okay, let's keep moving. The pedestrian... What? Come on, stop. The pedestrian hitmen are bringing a boring BMW. Surprise, it's not a Mustang. Dirty, rotten, cheating bastards have no car listed, but are coming from nearby Grenada, Nebraska.
Gretna.
The other great names, Dead Pigeon and Bush Latte Racing.
Bush Latte, I like that. Listener feedback time. We asked for input on this episode. Young Chris Egan wanted to share some additional love, so he said, quote, "I've listened to all the episodes so far. What a sucker." Oh, sorry, that was my conclusion. For some reason, congrats on 100. I have to say that while the funny stories and banter and hearing about all the other teams is awesome, the technical episodes you've done have been really helpful. Anything from race planning to paddock organization to driving technical episodes, I've learned something each time. On a different note, he's going back to Thompson for a second. Just want to give some more shout out to the Lemeter. Oh, this is me.
No, that's
That's just okay.
No,
this
that's
is
Chris Egan.
That's
Yeah,
Chris.
I was trying to play like
You're
hey,
reading
who
it,
wrote
but-
this?
Yeah.
The quotes ended. I was like, did somebody tell me to say this? No,
Fair.
Chris Egan still says, on a different note, going back to Thompson for a second, I just want to give one more shout out to the Lementarians. In the last hour and a half of the race Sunday, we were on the outside of turn 9 next to their caddy, and they had the tail step out and tap us, getting both cars to slide a little, no damage at all, no big deal. After the race, the driver, and I feel really bad that I can't recall his name, so I'm damn bad with names, but the Vermin Supreme lookalike guy came over.
Half Dan.
Half Dan, which
Everyone
yes,
everyone needs to know who
Half Dan.
Half Dan is because he's awesome.
He's
He
fantastic.
came over. Yeah, he came over. He apologized over and over and gave us some money, telling us to go get dinner. Chris tried to refuse the money because honestly, it was not that big of a deal. But he insisted. Those guys are amazing.
They are. Halfdan is a character. If you could just spend a little time talking to him, he is great. And somehow we got a picture of him standing in his boots and typical other stuff on the front of the dragster, like the fake dragster that has flames coming out of the fake exhausts while he's holding a chainsaw.
Yes, I saw that picture.
And we all said, yeah, we are never going to be as awesome as he is in that picture.
No.
So,
And like that whole team comes and they stay in theme all weekend. Whatever that train creation is,
I don't
drive
think it's
around
a
the
theme.
paddock.
It's not a theme.
No.
I think that's what they do.
Yeah.
I think that's them.
remember, like, at Lemons, there's always that thing. Is that their theme or is that just that guy? And in this case, I think it's this is just those people. Right?
I think so.
Well, and they bring the Linda Vaughn lookalike, and she was handing out the trophies at the end of the
yes.
ceremony. They're
She's
just
usually-
fantastic people.
Same way that everyone worried about Jeff when he's wearing the GIMP costume. Is that the theme or is that just that guy?
I swear it's the theme. That's all I'm gonna say.
The shark, on the other hand,
The shark was real.
If you could find a shark.
Hey, he went on his own. He's a
Oh.
full-grown shark. Who else got
Fair
listener
enough.
feedback?
So our good friend and big red Wrangler, Dan Sykes, took the time when he saw the engine swap in the Civic to call us cheaters, URS, and add that he also wants to K-swap a Chevette just to F with people. And Dan, I got to tell you, same thing we said on the Facebooks. Do it.
Yeah, especially now that they make ways to put Ks in rear drive stuff with Miatas, but there's so many Ks, so little time. Kreger said, yeah, I listened to every show. This is talking to me. He said, you subjected Kurt and I to the first episode during that CMP race you ran with us, which is true. It's right after we recorded it, and I wanted their feedback, honestly. And they didn't tell us that it sucked too much, so I knew they were lying. So anyway, he said Mental was talking through a tube, and Jeff and Chrissy sounded identical. So I guess we've come a little bit of the way through then since the tube of mockery.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
I hope
I think
so.
if we all talked through the tube of mockery, I think people either would have told us or stopped listening.
I sure hope so.
But we're done with listener feedback, and now XX
Wait,
speed.
but I got out the tube of mockery.
Oh, good. Do you have a tube of mockery? Chris has a tube of mockery.
I have
that
the actual tube of mockery
actually
somewhere.
says
The original.
There's
All right,
a
XX
tube of mockery and then
X-
the tube of mockery.
right? XX Speed, that's what we're talking about. Look for them at Putnam Park in Indianapolis, Pikes Peak in Colorado, which would be fantastic. September, they're going to be in Utah Motorsports Campus, Michigan International Speedway, and just outside of Omaha, Nebraska at Raceway Park in the Midlands. Plan to ride with Mental or pay extra to not do that at Wild Horse Pass in Arizona this November. In December, in December, he will be a driveway at driveway. That's what it's called, driveway.
Driveway.
In
That's the track.
In Austin, Texas. Choose your car, choose your track, choose your date. Just remember to use E1R Racers, one word, at when you're checking out and get 25% off extra extreme experience. It is now your turn.
You know
Awesome.
who else loves to get 25% off?
I mean,
Chrissy's mom. Who doesn't love coupons?
she does love coupon.
She loves to save.
So,
Thanks.
getting on to the main topic here, we mentioned that there are probably 5 or 6 human beings who have heard every single episode, not including the 4 of us here, one of them being Chrissy's mom. We now know that Chris Egan listened to them all.
And Craigers.
Craigers, Jason, Bill, a few other of the hardcore.
Dr. Florida Man.
Has he really listened to them all, or did he
I
come in a little
think
later?
on a lot of his road trips, he started back listening after he found us.
He ran out of other podcasts, is what it came down to.
It's completely possible.
And the alligators in his pants were no longer entertaining. So,
Well, when the bath salts run out, you have to do something to fill your time. So we didn't see this happening. Who could have seen this coming? 100 episodes. This episode, we're actually going to talk about the podcast itself because, I don't know, it's been 100 episodes since we really talked about ourselves and introduced ourselves. But we're not going to do that again. Go listen to 100. But we are going to talk about how this podcast has come around. So I'm going to throw out some questions. We're going to go around the table. It's going to be a little bit of rapid fire, a little bit of deep thought, maybe a little bit of group hug. But yeah, 100 episodes. Mental, you started this, so you're going to answer this first. Did you see this happening like this? Is this different than when you first got drunk and suggested, hey, we should do a podcast?
It absolutely is.
I was going to say, before we open the mic on episode 1, what were your thoughts and how is this different?
I'm not sure I had an end game. What's different is
No one is shocked.
I do feel that this whole thing turned out a lot more polished and helpful than we expected it to be. I genuinely thought it'd be fun, and I think it has been. But where I really do take a lot of satisfaction is we're talking about I've had multiple people say, "Hey man, I listened to that episode. That was actually really helpful, and now we do this because of that." And if we're really not that helpful, then I really appreciate everybody lying to us.
or telling us what we can do to be helpful. That's nice too, because
that is true. Yeah,
it's not too hard.
Yeah. Cool. Who else wants to jump on this? Chris, you got something?
Yeah, I'm really with that night. Chrissy and I got a drunken text from Mental when we were sitting at the Cape. I just thought this is going to be some, BS, just fooling around with a few friends, and then we'd see a squirrel and do something else. That's how things go. But here we are, and I think we just have too much fun with this, and there's so many great people that we now know better as a result, and I think that's why we keep doing it, because we're having a good time and we're meeting and getting to know better a lot of great people. Really.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Chrissy, I know you got something on this one.
Yeah, so I feel like we started this because we thought there was going to be a niche. We thought we could be talking about things that not too many people were talking about, and we could actually take it and make it into something that is a little bit more funny, or that we thought that we would mesh pretty well. But I know we all agreed it morphed into something just really bigger than that. So super quick story. I was talking to my dad today about our 100th episode, telling him that we were having that, and I thought we would be kind of focused on our favorite episodes or something like that. And he started telling me all about these episodes that he remembered, and he was like, "Hey, you remember the trailer episode? And we talked about this, and you were talking all about all these things." And he doesn't trailer, but he was learning things, and maybe stuff that he didn't need to know. Both my parents were telling me about their favorite and not so favorite episodes. So I know people are remembering more than we do, and they're taking things in and they're learning stuff. So yeah, turned into something bigger than we thought would.
Awesome. I was going to save what's your favorite episode for a listener question. Good. To have people talk us about that, but that's okay too. So yeah, I guess I should answer this myself. I totally agree with what everyone said. I thought this was going to be like a fun screw around and maybe some people would listen. I didn't expect to have to do homework all the time and have to actually research and
we'll
crap.
get there.
We're talking about grip circles and weight transfer. I gotta get back to that.
Totally.
So that actually gets to the actual racing. How do we think doing this podcast has? Oh, go ahead, Metz. I got something.
Well, and I'm sorry because I know you had a really nice segue, but before we get too deep into this, now, Chris and Chrissy are obviously together on this, but Jeff, if you and I do not thank our lovely and talented wives for putting up with this nonsense, and I keep telling them they just need to go ahead and do the podcast that they threatened at the wedding that they were going to start doing, which was Not Everyone Racers, where they just get together and complain about you and me. But so thank you.
I think Donnie would listen to that. Just to make fun of us.
Probably. So not just thanks to Chrissy's mom and Jen and the whole Matura clan, but also thanks most importantly for me to my patient and loving wife.
Awesome. I thank mine too, but I'll wait till she gets home because it's her birthday yesterday. So how has this changed your racing? Anybody doing anything different on the track or all that kind of stuff? Like, Chrissy's like wagging her head. She's so excited to answer this question, but she's chewing. So I'm trying to give her another moment to finish so that we don't hear from all of the anti-gummy bear clans.
Coyotes.
Chrissy, what you got?
Hold on, I'm actually choking on it now. I just put a Skittle in my mouth. Okay, so I'm shaking my head. Has it changed my racing? Yes, all around, yes. I feel like the last year and then some, I've done more research. I have tried different things because I feel like you guys, this is the three of you, but all the listeners hold me accountable. So I really like to have goals in life. And if no one's holding you accountable to those goals, it's easier to brush them off. And since I told you all my goals, I've really been wanting to achieve them. So I have finished things. I have tried harder. I've focused more, and I've done more on racing than I have in the last 9 years or 8.5, or however long. I have just thought that I was not as good at racing, and I just, would try. And if I didn't try hard enough, I would just yell at myself. And the last year I have been introspective. I have been researching, and I have worked harder than I have in racing for the last 9 years than I have in the last 9 years. So yes, the show has helped me become a better racer. Cool. All the day. Mic drop.
I don't want to go after that now.
Too bad. Go anyway.
I feel like I'm a lot less aggressive than I used to be. I don't get as angry in the race car. And partial that is now this has introduced us to so many more people, and we go over there and we talk to them, and they're really nice. And, oh, hey, yeah, we're sorry. We kind of goofed up on that. So I know so many more folks on the track now, and I don't want to be a jerk to my friends, but that doesn't stop me from flipping people off when they're being tools on the track. But, I try to be nicer about it.
It's a Rhode Island wave, and that guy totally deserved it.
Special point buy is what I call it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I guess I'll go. So sure. I'll say this has made me, I guess, refine the craft is the best way I can say it. As I've been doing this for a long time. I mean, I went to my first skip barber school when I was 18, so it's been like more than half my life I've been doing this stuff. And this makes me verbalize the things that I was just doing, which forces me to analyze them, which then forces me to improve them. So it kind of helped pull me up off of a bit of a plateau, which I like, and I want to keep doing.
I'm pretty similar in vein. I think this has called me out on my own BS. I always talked about training and track driving and reading and analyzing, but it made me actually do it. Like, I don't think I would have gone to the track days I went to if we weren't doing the podcast. I wouldn't be thinking about how to improve myself in the off season. I wouldn't be, because I could always talk about it being important, but now I'm talking about it in public about it being important. So it's holding my own feet to the fire.
Well, and it showed in this last race. You guys both, you both killed it at this last race. I mean, you guys were
killed
running,
it.
Really, you were running fast times. This is the first time that I think you guys have been both consistently, repeatedly within 4 seconds of what I was putting down regularly, like all the time.
And we were told to stop. High five, Jeff.
Exactly. So that
when
that
Mental's
right
like,
there,
I did a 126, and we were like, we're not allowed.
But that's the whole point, is that you guys were right there. And that's because I think you've been putting this effort into the education. That didn't really happen 2 years ago, for example. It wasn't the same.
No,
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same
so
repeatability.
much better than I was 2 years ago,
Right.
and not because of 2 years of track time. It's because
Right.
2 years
Agreed.
of focus,
Yeah.
laser focus, like an entrepreneur.
Home slice.
Right around the table, let's say, what is the best and worst thing about being a not so famous podcaster? Chris, start us up.
The best is connecting better with these 2.5 other fools, because I connect enough with Chrissy, but the other two. Anyway, and also all the fellow racers around the country. There's so many people that I either know that I didn't know, or I know better than I did, and that's fantastic. The worst is losing Wednesday nights. No productivity. Yeah.
Fair. I'm going to
Mental.
say the same thing because it feels like that's the easy answer, but it's the true answer. Is really, this was, I was not racing with you guys very much. I wasn't talking to you guys very much, and so this was an excuse to start hanging out with 3 of my good friends. So especially now that I'm out here, all the way out, almost on the West Coast. So I really do miss you guys. But meeting all these additional people, race weekends are just so much fun now. It's just, you walk around and it's just so many great people that do this ridiculous hobby of ours. The worst thing, I don't want to say like I'm an ambassador, but I guess I've become a little bit more aware of my behaviors. So when I want to be a jerk, I can't. I know. Like the only time I could be a jerk at the last race was before I got in the car on Sunday morning, and that was just to Hamza, Jeff, and you. So I don't get to vent.
So
You can find somebody or something.
I'm now jealous of Jeff's answer, but I will let Jeff be his answer, and then I will agree with him. But I would agree absolutely. Meeting people I've never met before. If we did, it might have just been in passing. So now we've really tried to take the time to talk with people. Having teams come up to us and be like, "Oh, wait, you're Chrissy," and I'm like, "That's so weird." But awesome. Thanks. Especially to the progressive guys. That's what I was talking about. So some of these friends are actually lifelong friends that we maybe would have not had actual part of our team, talking about Fisher and Danvers gang, and all the rest of the last names that go with it, because you guys are awesome, and now they're like almost part of our team. So that's just one instance that is awesome, and it may not have happened if we didn't start this silly thing. Worst, going along with losing Wednesdays, but also one night of my week, I have to stay up way past my bedtime. Sometimes it's later than others, and sometimes by the time we get off and we have our after party and all of that stuff, I mic drop and run away and get mad.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a shallow answer and a deeper answer, but the shallow answer is traveling to the West Coast, going to Lucky Dog, getting to Laguna is definitely probably the best thing about the podcast, but not just because we got to go to Laguna, but because I would never have tried another series. I definitely wouldn't have been able to go to the West Coast. I definitely wouldn't have stepped out of myself, who loves lemons, to try that kind of new thing if we didn't have a podcast where we met Kathy and learned about other series and really just be able to step out of ourselves. The worst, I can't really think of anything bad. I thought about like losing my anonymity, but not that, because when you're in the gimp suit or you're sharking, it really doesn't matter.
Sharking?
Shark, yes.
We've invented a new word.
Team mouthpiece. So
yeah. So really, maybe the loss of hair. I'm
you didn't have a lot to start with, my friend.
I know. So
did it come out your nose?
So no.
Almost.
Well, now you can check off the Jeff is bald thing on your.
We get to what I'm saying here. So I love these people. I love talking about racing, but getting back on a microphone since my radio days has refreshed all of the things, like listening to my voice and constantly thinking about every and every and every chewing and every time the plane goes over and every time everything. So
Every time I choke on my beer.
learning to restrain myself and not say like, Chris, back away from the mic. I can hear your nose breathing. And mental, what's up with those crickets? No.
What's up
I
with
mean,
all
the
that freedom?
crickets
Yeah.
were pretty epic, though.
Yeah. Well, that was also when I dragged the cannonball across my porch too. So
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a show about learning. What's the most important thing you learned around the table? Chris.
To eat my snacks with the mic off.
Still the best, best
iTunes
review of our
ever.
show.
Yeah.
yeah. Are you freaking eating right now? Yes, it's my lunchtime.
Hey,
Literally
I
quote
just
it.
want to say we've actually done a lot of research for a lot of these episodes, and sometimes I've had to actually like go and read things. Chris still talks about chewing on the food. Come on, Chris. You didn't research anything. You didn't have to actually like crack a book.
Not
No.
really.
Have you seen his
I have
brain?
cracked
Come on.
so many books to get to this point. Like, you haven't read all the way through Speed Secrets and Going Faster and The Art of Solo Racing and all those things already. So
All right. Thanks,
Fine.
Trump. Next.
no one does a better podcast than me.
That's right.
Ever.
I am the chosen one.
That's right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So-
I didn't mean to go political.
No.
Chrissy goes. Chris. Mental, go. Chris Mental.
Okay. So in all this stuff, we actually, before we had the show, we would talk about racing. Hey, look, man, just be faster. But now we actually get into techniques. So not just the three of you, particularly like drawing track maps and things like that, but also just feedback we're getting from the listeners. I feel like I'm in a much more analytical mindset when it comes to wrenching and driving. I mean, I'm in a new squadron and they kind of make fun of me because I walk around talking about what I'm going to do. So I sound it out. One of our big things is we make jalapeno popcorn and I talk about the various techniques. I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to let the jalapenos cook for a full minute. And people look at me, what are you doing? Just don't worry about it. I'm talking to myself. I don't know if I'm better as a driver and I don't know if I'm better as a wrench, but because
You're
I'm in
better
this
as a schizophrenic, apparently. So.
Exactly, better. But I have noticed that I'm breaking a lot less stuff and I get a lot less flags.
Oh, yes. We've noticed
yes,
as well.
Yeah, we've noticed it too. Yeah.
So I feel like, being in this little bit more of a self-aware state of mind, which is hard for an egomaniac with great hair, but I'm a little bit more aware of who I am and what I'm doing. And I in addition to being analytical, I'm a lot more appreciative of where I am in life and how I've been blessed in the world of friends and everything. And so I feel like I'm happier. And you can't credit this all to this podcast, but certainly it has put me in a state of mind to think in that mindset and just be genuinely grateful.
That's
Aw.
great. Chrissy and I are typing on the document at the same time, and our cursors are fighting each other.
Well, right.
It's
At
even
first when I
funnier
was
for
like-
me and Chris because it's fun to watch.
I was like, are you drunk? You've redone the same word over and over.
Because every time you type, my cursor would jump down a line. Chrissy, tell us what you just wrote.
I'm very sorry. I've been trying to think about this answer, and I have been I just have been not coming up with much. But I feel like when you asked, did you do a lot of research, especially for the technical stuff? I had done a lot of research for the technical episodes but I had read the book, especially Speed Secrets, recently, and that's what kind of brought on that idea to have those, and we'll have more of them soon. So I feel like I didn't do actual research for those because I had been reading them recently. I think the one thing that I have taken more introspectively was learning more about people during our people episode, our what do you call it? MT, whatever the test that we did.
The Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs, yes. And then I sent them to more people, and I was really I really do like those types of things because I think they make you realize what kind of people everybody is and how they react to things and how to deal with them all. And I think that's the thing that I learned the most was so we can really think about not only the four of us, but also how to deal with our broader team, my family, my coworkers. It was just kind of put me in a place of let me think about how to apply these kinds of people and who they are or who I think they are, even if they don't take the test, to think of how I would react to them. Go ahead, Chris.
Just a quick comment that Myers-Briggs episode is one that I said, this is going to totally suck. Whatever, mental. And it worked out great. So
I was about to say, hot take all around the table.
Short-haired hippie.
Wackiest show idea that you went, whatever, and then you actually liked.
Yeah, that
well,
was
no. You're not getting out of your answer here.
No, I'll answer. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll answer, then we'll do the hot take. Yeah, you have 10 seconds to think about it. I recentered myself as a teacher. I think learning, like I was doing a lot of things by gut instinct, but I could never explain it. So learning the language to explain and teach the topics that I thought I understood helped greatly, and I think that is probably the most important thing I learned. Now, hot take around the table.
Good answer.
Wackiest show idea.
I already
Chris,
gave mine.
MBTI. Chris, mental.
I honestly thought the Fire's Bad was going to be a 20-minute episode of Fire's Bad, try not to burn. And we still get a lot of feedback on that one of, oh, wow.
Oh, the
you know what?
Right? I'm so upset.
Because I guess the title of it kind of narrowed the scope, but I do feel like we might have made an impact because a lot of people started thinking about fire in a much broader aspect. I mean, this is the dangerous hobby that we do. We make it as safe as possible,
right.
but
hot take
if you're not thinking it, sorry, if you're not thinking,
who are you talking to, Jeff? Really? Who are you talking to?
Chrissy, wackiest topic.
I think the ideas of having hangover shows after the race they went over pretty well, which is surprising because that people want to tune in to listen to a show when we talk about what our team did. But maybe I don't know. I guess I didn't think it was going to go over well, and I didn't like when they were called hangover shows, and I think they've gone over well. So I'm going to say those.
They're some of our best attended episodes, actually. Yeah.
Well, y'all like the hangover shows. You're going to keep getting them. Just keep downloading them. I'm going to say race results and go to the next question. If you could, what would you want to do differently in the next 100 episodes? Chris.
I'm going to try to be more even in my volume and tone because I need to try to fool Skype's compression and evening algorithms because I'm the one that's recording usually. So when I'm not even, it screws that all up, and then we get odd volume things. And so I'm going to really try a little better to do that. Thanks.
Mental.
Up next on The Delicious Dish. Now, I'm
try my sweaty balls.
I work on my verbal pauses, and when I listen to these episodes, I hear myself go, yeah, but, and some.
Folks.
In that order, yes. And I'm and I use folks in my everyday conversation, and I'm eliminating folks from my vocabulary. Welp, yep, that's a good one. I'm trying. I'm really trying.
The only way to know is when you either get feedback from someone or you listen to yourself. Like that's the only way you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, Chrissy.
Okay, so as these people are talking about their verbal speak, I'm sure I could speak better. I'm sure, but fortunately nobody has coined me with a phrase about how I speak, like eating on a microphone, Mr. Twinkie, Mr. High-Pitched Voice. So I'm sure somebody has some kind of thing to tell me about my voice, but for now, I have not been coined with a phrase about my voice, which is lovely.
I'm sure that'll
which will
shortly.
last exactly
Chrissy.
1 week now.
Chrissy.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Chrissy, have you not realized we make fun of you every time you try and pronounce something in another language?
I mean, I hope you do, because I'm the worst at that.
That's why we keep giving you those.
Oh. Is it
you
really?
Go Wiener, Schnitzel, Gruben, Frissen.
Oh,
It's no fun when I do it.
I didn't realize you gave it to me on purpose. Oh, 100 I'm
100
crying now.
episodes.
100 episodes, and now you're telling me the truth. I mean, fine. And I hope
I'm
that
the one
somebody
that types this up, and I have never done that.
Oh,
on
okay.
purpose.
This is Jeff just thinks it's
Sure.
hilarious. Okay. So some of this, I feel like my actual thing that I'm going to do, I feel like I should probably do some more research on some of these things because sometimes I feel like I don't come as prepared because some people do a great job on notes, and the last couple months I have not done what I need to do. So, yes.
So I'll mention here that if you go back and you listen to episode 1 through like 10 or 12, back when Mental was still talking in the tube of mockery, I had a great idea to have produced transitions.
And
You know,
now,
where I-
news
exactly,
and
thank you.
notes.
Where I would push a button and like the background music would show up and I wouldn't just have a speaker that I'm holding up to a microphone because I have a frickin' radio degree and I should be able to figure out how frickin' Skype works. Try as I might, I cannot
we haven't
do it.
talked about your degree in radio and television in a while.
I know.
I think we got off the
So-
subject because we were
Yeah,
all
produce
felt kind of bad.
transitions. Sometime in the next 100 episodes, I'll figure out how to do produce transitions.
Although, I guess here's a thought on produced transitions. The couple times I've listened to the Garage Heroes podcast, hi Bill, hi Alan, I usually skip
Hi,
right over
Vicky.
those with the advanced 15 seconds thing on iTunes,
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
where ours are so quick. It's just news and notes. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's
Oh no,
skipping.
definitely my transitions would be shorter, but I just think I need a sound effect button. I want to be like Fred on the Howard Stern show. I want to be able to put like push a button that says boring and like boring comes out of I don't
It's
know.
Jeffy Dubb and the Crazy Morning Crew.
That's right. Exactly.
Dingo and the
Sorry,
baby.
Erling.
I
I
actually
killed Erling. I apologize.
Yeah, sorry. I actually had a friend who is in the broadcast world and still has a professional job in broadcasting who knows nothing about cars, listen to a couple episodes, and he says, I could tell you're having so much fun rewriting the outro during the show based on something that was said. So he's wrong. He's right. Best guest, quick hit around the table. Chrissy, go.
I'm going to say Rude. He's great.
Mental.
I like it when we had Bradley on. Bradley Brownell.
Bradley was great. Chris Abbott.
I like the ridiculous crew of people we had in the RV at Barbara.
That was so epic. That was so
we
epic.
had like 10 drunk people in an RV as we were
I don't
doing
even
this.
think. Did they even all get on mic when they were talking? I
No,
think it
because
was
some
just.
people were like, no, they didn't
No.
want to. They didn't realize we were
But
actually
they
like
were
doing the show.
Hamza and Yo-Man were in the back of the RV next to the
hilarious.
camera that was Facebook Living, and so they were having their own conversation. And honestly, the two of them when blissed are hilarious. So the Facebook Live people can hear that whole thing. Yeah.
And
Hamza
Hamza
was
was like,
making
wait, you're
fun
actually
of-
recording this?
Yeah,
Why-
he
why-
did not think we were.
He was making fun of the advertisement because he thought it was a joke.
Just like
And
this
then
is
we're
a,
like,
this is a
wait,
fake
for me.
charity. No,
Exactly. He was fake charioting our in-show
We're
plug.
like, no, that's legit. And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
it's not just
The-
kids with ass cancer, Hamza. Sorry.
Oh,
When I started caressing Yo Man's smoking jacket and asking him what kind of animal was killed for it, I think I freaked him out a little.
I don't think
it's
that's
really
possible.
pretty tough to do.
Yeah. I'm going to say best guess. I'm going to go with Steph. I recently listened back to the Steph episode, and it was not hilarious. It was not funny. It was barely about racing, but it was intriguing.
No, we were making some odd faces, and you're absolutely right. I'm prepared to give you that one. She was very honest, and she was unguarded, and yeah, intriguing.
I mean,
yeah.
Intriguing. I mean,
Okay.
you're absolutely right. It was a bit tear-jerking at some points. So, best random people that we know better because of the stupid show. Mental.
Every name you're about to hear, I would absolutely agree with.
I do too.
But I'm going to throw random. I'm going to go with Dr. Florida Man Donnie because
That's as random as you get, eh?
Yeah.
Right?
I was doing that race down in Orlando, and he's like, "Oh, you're in Orlando? Sure, I'll hop in my Trans Am." And now Donnie and I probably text 3 times a week, and then we're back and forth on Twitter with Ike and a couple of other cast of characters. And it was just so random that I met him, and there's rarely a day that goes by that something he says or doesn't make me chuckle. So I'm just really, really glad to have met Donnie in real life.
There you go. Round table, Chrissy.
I'm going Bill Fisher and the gang.
Totes,
Best.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Let's say Vicky Fisher and gang, because let's be honest, she's the powerhouse.
Sure. Well, she wears the
there's
pants,
a
but
whole
Bill's
lot.
the one that reaches out to us. So because Vicky's too busy doing stuff. So.
Not wrong.
And Alan, you can't go wrong with
Well,
Alan.
that's why the gang. I mean, I can't
Right,
name
yeah,
all of them because the kids are awesome.
We don't have
can't.
time to list all that group.
Alan,
That's true. There-
Alan,
yeah, all of-
wait,
And we meet new ones all the time. We just met Connor.
Every child of both of those families is genuinely
Well,
impressive.
and then they're just bringing children that don't
anyone
even
that
hang
they
on.
know, right?
Yeah.
Children they find in the street. Hello, would you like to drive a race car? Yes, I would.
Here's-
Thank you. Okay.
Here's a quick hit Connor story. So I was getting ready to get in the Ombre on Sunday, and I was plugging in my radio and putting in my headphones, and he said, what kind of tunes do you listen to when you're driving? And I was like, I don't. I listen to the radio communications that are going back and forth to the car. How come you don't know this? You've been here a whole day so far, Connor. And it just refreshes my memory how sometimes the things that we take for granted are not obvious to the world, like the Simpson-shaped head or anything else that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's true. We've been doing this for too long.
Yeah. Chris, random people you met.
The Lucky Dog crew. We never would have met them without this. We
Ah.
got to meet.
Great one.
Yeah, obviously Kathy, Greg, Chris, all those folks out there that are what a
Mo.
great group. Yeah.
Like the
Mo. Right.
Oh,
Dave. All those guys.
whole group.
What a great group of people that
And
run
that was
a
only
great
like
show.
a limited a number of people that were there.
Like I would love to hang out with those folks more. They're really nice people. They run a nice race. I would like to race with them more. And if you're on the West Coast, you should. Or maybe.
Totes.
Maybe you'll do a show on the East, do a race on the East Coast, and then we would all show up.
We should have Kathy back on. Maybe she'll talk about it.
That would be a great idea.
So I'm going to say that you took all the good ones. Let me think here. Man, I can't. There's so many. Like Brett Sloman, was just a name. God, there's so many of the
Look at the notes. Look at the notes.
But the Cheese Bowl characters, yes, obviously. Although I kind of knew them from the race more than anything else. The Baltimoreans. Let's give them
that's
a
a great
shout
one.
out.
Yeah.
I definitely would not have known those guys or hung out with them as much at a race if they didn't interact on the podcast. So yeah.
Yep, good suggestion there too.
Awesome.
We can keep going.
Sure.
No, there's
really
names
could.
that are continuing.
Oh, seriously, yeah. Rude, Bradley, Glucker. I mean, yeah. We honestly, we haven't had him on our show yet, but Ike from the Untitled Car Show. Yeah.
Well, we did kind of take over his show that one time we were on his show. Let's be honest.
But yeah, God, I mean, we could do an entire show on cool people we've met just because we do this show.
There you
That's
go.
sad.
So what is the most interesting non-car thing, somebody edited the question, that you wish you could podcast about? If you had another, this is a question.
Jeff
If
is
you had-
editing the question, apparently.
No,
Jeff
the
is
question was
editing.
written that way before, but something happened.
Oh.
If you
okay.
could have another podcast without this cast of crew about a totally non-car related topic, what would you talk about? Oh, head scratchers. There's
I'm gonna
Okay,
say.
so
I'm gonna say
Scott one.
comic books, video games, and more with Dad.
that was Josh. Yes. Comics, video
Is
games,
that your
more.
answer?
No,
Legit
it's not
answer.
mine.
Legit answer. Home renovations,
Oh,
ooh, that's
home
a good
improvements,
choice.
like DIY stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
very cool.
is
Mr.
true.
Mental.
So my friend Jason Slider got his head of his eyes worked on, so he could only sit on his couch, laying on his side, and he couldn't watch anything. He could only listen to stuff. So he actually probably binged all episodes of that. We are in the early steps of a Star Wars oriented podcast where we are set out to prove that the Skywalkers are just jerks. And everything that happens in all the Star Wars universe always is going to stem from the fact that the Skywalkers are just jerks.
Okay, I'm going to listen to that. Bill's going to listen to that. Chrissy, not listening to that.
No, Chrissy's totally not going to listen to that.
Your sister will totally listen to that.
No, Jen will get in her car, drive to Las Vegas, and punch all of us because we're going to say something wrong. But yeah.
She'll prove you wrong. You'll listen for feedback every week.
Paragraphs. Listen here, you schmucks. Right? You're crazy.
No, that's the Spaceballs version.
That's right. Chrissy, you still look puzzled.
I mean, I'm thinking. I'm thinking like maybe there's too many of them, but like I could do like cooking or something like that, like easy. I don't know. I'd have to come up with exactly what it would be because we do pretty good cooking. We had I don't know. I think we could do something pretty well, but I'm not sure. I'm not what.
You and Vicky Fisher could throw.
I've got a
down
secondary
on
answer that I
podcast.
thought of since that would be good.
Oh, go ahead.
It's similar, but sailboats. There's so much sailboat stuff and so much like really specialized, detailed information
Everyone's
about sailboats
sailing.
and sailboat racing specifically.
Everyone's
sailors.
sailing.
Everyone's
Sailing.
sailors.
Sounds great.
But
So,
there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah.
I'll answer this. I listen to every single Game of Thrones, pop culture, Star Wars, nerd, MCU podcast.
Which is why the Z is not done yet.
Exactly. No, that has nothing to do with it. I listen to those when I commute
I
to
just
work.
gotta hassle you a little. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, so I would definitely be on like the next whatever the next big show is on HBO, I would be on the after show for that. Probably The Watchmen.
Like
Let's go with that.
Talking
Oh,
Dead,
yes.
Be that guy.
Yeah, Talking Dead, exactly.
Jeff, we're going to totally do the Talking Watchmen podcast. That'd
Yeah,
be
there
great.
you go. Awesome. Look, I know we skipped a few questions in there, but I would just want to open it up to anything else that anybody wants to say on the eve of our 100th podcast. I absolutely guarantee we're going to talk about race cars next week, but this week we had to talk about us a little. Anyone around the table? Go. Just shout it out. I got to call on you. Mental start.
Go, Chrissy. Go, Chrissy.
Go, Chrissy.
It's been awesome. It's crazy. 100 episodes. We've learned a lot. We've come a far way. It's been awesome.
Mental, go ahead.
Same thing. We could do this without our listeners, and we probably would. It wouldn't be as good. It wouldn't be
All
as good
four of
without the
them?
people that. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be as good without
We're
the
up
people
to
that listen
tens
to us.
now from the fives we started with.
But without the people that listen to this show and genuinely actively giving us feedback, I don't think it would be as good as it is. So I appreciate everyone taking the time to do this.
Awesome. Chris, anything else you want to say?
No.
I'll wrap it up with I make fun of the professionalism on this podcast, but you all have been amazing. We are dealing with tremendously crazy technology here. The Skype world, I think we've really hit the sweet spot between like editing and seriousness and comedy and doing the research and having things. And it's not ruling our lives. We're making sure that it's an addition, not a subtraction, and not a full-time job, unless you are a high dollar promoter out there who really wants to talk to the 400 to 600 people who do amateur racing mainly on the East Coast and are willing to sponsor our podcast. Email us at everyone.racers.
Yeah, for the right price, we can edit this stuff. So,
That was beautiful.
yeah.
Hello, sweet or but terrible. Who's got it?
I
think Chris does it.
I know. Rare. So here's the backstory. We're doing a motor swap in the Z. The Z needs a motor. The motor that I have chosen, the motor that we've chosen and that I've found is in central Pennsylvania. It's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. There's nothing in Altoona. It is a larger engine physically. It requires a larger vehicle to pick up, and it's a solid day drive to get it. Chrissy happens to be driving basically past it there and back this week.
She's like, I am.
The look
She
on
was.
her face is priceless.
No, and it's interesting. We've already made the decision, but we're putting this here.
Like, okay.
So she happens to be
That's
driving
the
there and past it,
face.
and we were talking today. Should we buy this engine now, where it will then sit in the garage in my small suburban 2-car garage with too much crap in it already, with already several motors on the floor, and take up space, but maybe motivate us to do something? Or do we wait to get it once the stock motor's out of the Z, the wiring harness is out of the Z, we have the adapter plate, we have the EFI system, we have the manifolds, we have all the stuff we need? Is it better to get a big motivational piece early or wait until the time is right?
So the person who's not going to touch it is ready to answer first.
Okay.
Go on, Mr.
Yeah.
Mental.
If it was me or Jeff, I would say wait. But you're Chris. And it will eat at you that motor is in the garage.
Most things I'm going to trip over the damn thing.
True. But even if it's just 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, you'll go out, you'll fiddle with it, you'll get on every internet forum, you will memorize every technical piece of data about it.
Already
And
done.
even if that engine doesn't work, you will be better prepared should that engine break at a race. So I'm going to say, get it now.
I have a whole totally different thought that comes up with a totally different answer, so I'm going to go next. I don't think we get it now. Not because it's not going to be a motivational tool, not because it's not going to be in your way, because honestly, it could come here where the chassis is.
What are you going to do? Put it in the backyard, though?
I don't even have any space. But this is a rather common motor that can be found anywhere, so it's not like we have to strike while the iron is hot.
This particular one is 100,000 miles and $175.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, you're changing my mind.
It's too late. We already made the decision.
I'm
so.
already going with no. We'll be all right.
But I will say it's been
Good
there for a
answer.
couple months and it's not going anywhere. So, 'cause it's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. There's
Yeah.
nothing in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is why it's
Chrissy-
$175.
I mean, I can't.
Determined to be in your trunk at one point. So how do you feel about this plan?
I mean, I can. Can I give the answer, or do you want to give the answer?
You can give
So-
the answer, honey.
All right. So I was willing to pick it up, no problem. Chris was like, "Oh, there's an engine out in Western Pennsylvania," and I was like, "I'm going there next week, and I don't have to go with anybody, and I have time to stop at a junkyard as long as I don't have to pull the engine. I can just, if somebody's going to load it, which I don't normally mind pulling engines, but not when I'm trying to drive home from somewhere in middle of Pennsylvania." So I said today. So I mean, long story short, the Suburban was needed in two places. So I basically said, "Well, can you fit it in the back of my Mazda?" And he was like, "Yeah, no." So
Motors fit in long roofs all the time.
So I was going to need. Well,
I have to tow the Civic to the dyno on Friday, so I really actually need the Suburban.
Well, that's
You
what
should
we were
borrow Jeff's truck.
Well, so I was going to take Snowflake. And so, right. So, cause they have another Suburban. So I was just going to take Snowflake, but I would rather really not drive Snowflake
to Pittsburgh
if I don't need to. So we decided this afternoon that we were not going to pick up the engine because it was going to be in the way. There was not really any place to put it and we didn't really need it right now. So the answer is that we're not going to get it. And
Yeah.
I think that is the right answer. Chris, what is your answer on this topic?
You heard the answer. I'm the one that made the decision of it's not the right time. If the motor was out of the Z, I would say we go for it. Even if we didn't have the adapter plate or the wiring that we needed or the accessories, the manifolds, any of that stuff, if the motor was out of the Z, then yes. But right now, I know we would get it home. I have to take the stupid hoist that's in pieces on the shelves of my garage and get it out and build it to get the motor out of the Suburban.
And I need the hoist to get the motor out of the Z.
Exactly. So I'd have to
and
do
it's a
all that
two-person job anyway. So
just to get it out and then put it on the floor of the garage where then it's going to be in the way for fixing the Honda. It's going to be in the way for the work I do in the Mercedes. It's going to be in the way for the work I do in the Solstice. So I don't want to do it. Yes, Mental.
What if you just put it on the back of your little tiny utility trailer?
What if
And
I
then
want to
wrap
use the
it-
utility trailer?
Really? Everyone who's used this utility trailer on this podcast, raise your hand. Done.
Oh, I used
That was
it
only
once.
me, by the way. I'm
No.
the only one who
our
raised-
neighbors have
No.
a bunch of times.
I picked up a sofa with it that could totally fit in the back of the
Fine.
Suburban, but I brought the trailer anyway just in case. 'Cause I had
Our
it.
neighbors have borrowed it more than you.
I
That's
can
true.
finish this argument. What is today's date?
August 21st.
August
Yeah,
20th.
no. Chef has nothing to do for the next 4 weeks. He has no time available.
Yeah.
So until September 15th, I am unavailable. So
Yep.
we'll do that later. Besides, don't we have a solstice to build?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. We need a second
We
car.
need a car.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
exactly. Next show promo. Who's got it?
We had so much fun on this episode. Hopefully
really
you guys
did.
laughed. I mean, we did anyway. We should probably do something good and useful. So next, we're going to come back with our technical episodes, stuff you should care about since it's racing season, and it's time to jump on. I didn't finish the sentence. So yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to have something technical next time. It'll be fun.
Something
But educational.
unknown technical episode next week.
Yes.
Awesome. This is wrapping up our 100th show. Where's this music? Just making sure it's coming up. Because I don't have it plugged in. It's not produced. We want feedback. Tell us, what was your favorite topic? What is the best thing you want to hear? What is the last thing you want to hear? What's better, Mental's hair, Chris's gummy bears, Chrissy's laugh, or Jeff's technical difficulties? Whatever you have, give us feedback on the 100 episodes. Thank you. Yeah, I know, a lot of questions. Just hit us up. Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes. We should have 100 5-star ratings. We've had 100 episodes, but we don't. Even if you hate us, give us a 5-star rating and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.